Have you ever said yes to something that you did not want to do and then immediately felt resentment rise? Or maybe you smiled and brushed something off when deep down it actually hurt. That is what self-abandonment can look like. And most of us are doing it a lot more than we realize, which can be so detrimental in the long run. Hi there, my name is Julia. I am a certified Dharma life coach, and I help people trust themselves more, connect to their hearts and their inner wisdom, and feel grounded and empowered as they create lives that feel solely aligned to them. In this video, which is part 4 of my relationship with self series, we are exploring something that I wish I had been exposed to earlier in my journey, and I know many of us still struggle with, which is how to stop abandoning ourselves, even in the small, everyday moments, and how to start choosing ourselves instead. Stay until the end, and I will share some practices to help you move from self-abandonment to true self-love and alignment. Self-abandonment is not always obvious. A more obvious example might be staying in a relationship way after you realize it is not right for you or just out of alignment. But self-abandonment is typically more subtle, such as saying you're fine when you're actually not, or shaping yourself to fit someone else's expectations, often before expectations are even discussed. Let me ask you, is it possible to build a relationship with someone who constantly ghosts you? If you do know of a way, I would love to hear. Please drop it in the comments. But I do believe that most people would say no. And this all applies to the relationship with yourself. Each time you choose someone else's comfort over yourself, just imagine it as there's a physical bank of your trust or self-trust. You're chipping away at that each time. Before we get into the practices, I will share a few examples of how self-abandonment has shown up in my life. One example is when I was working in an hourly role, which was for quite a few years in my professional career. I would often work late and even off the clock because I wanted to be seen as the dependable and reliable team member or leader. It's also looked like dimming parts of my personality to avoid being too much, which is partially what brought me to YouTube, so I can relearn how to express myself more fully. It has also shown up in relationships. So my long-term partner and I have love meetings or relationship check-ins, and I used to plan them entirely around his schedule, and that was my view of it, considering his demanding school schedule and now work, was that is just the reality of being a supportive partner. But in the long run, since there was a lack of consistency, I was neglecting my expectations for more consistency. One of the main points I am aiming to get across here is the more that we abandon ourselves, even in seemingly small ways, the more that inner voice starts to echo that same rejection. It will say things like, "You're being dramatic, don't make a big deal out of that," or "just go along with it, it's not worth the discomfort." That voice is trying to protect us from rejection by rejecting us first. But here's the thing, that voice was trained at one point and can be retrained. If you have listened up to this point and have noticed some of these patterns within yourself, but would like to start choosing yourself instead, then I have 3 practices that you can try. And all of these have helped me start to build that trust from the inside out. The first practice is to recognize and repair the fawn response. You have probably heard of the fight, flight, or freeze response. There is another trauma response called fawn, where you essentially people please to stay safe. This can look like even something as small as laughing at a joke that makes you uncomfortable, or telling the hairstylist you like the haircut when you really don't. When you catch yourself in the fawn response, I highly recommend you follow the following steps. Step 1 is to notice the moment your body tightens before a decision or a response to someone. Ask yourself, am I making myself small to be accepted right now? Or even a simple, is this actually what I want? The second step would be to respond to the person who asked something of you and say, can I get back to you on that? Or I need to check in with myself first. Step 3, if you already committed to something, said yes, but it doesn't feel right, then you'll want to circle back and say, hey, something came up for me. Can we revisit this? You won't always catch it in the moment, but each time you do, you are telling your nervous system that telling the truth is safe. If you would like to look into this practice further, it's actually rooted in trauma-informed boundary repair based on polyvagal theory and somatic trauma work. For our second practice, I have a self-repair script to offer you. It's kind of a reparenting moment because sometimes, just like we briefly touched on, we don't realize till after the fact that we abandoned ourselves. And that's okay. You can still repair. I invite you to say this to yourself. Hey, I see you. I know that felt like betrayal, but I am not leaving you. I'm learning to choose you. Say it out loud, journal it, write it on your mirror. For our third practice, we have a pretty simple body check-in. In somatic psychology, self-abandonment often shows up as disconnection from the body. This is a grounding practice that you can do at any time. So get in a comfy position, place one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. Tune into your heart, take a deep breath in, and ask yourself and your heart, what do I need right now? You may not always get a clear answer, and that's okay. It takes practice. The goal is to simply start to reconnect, because self-abandonment often starts by losing access to our own inner signals or our intuition, which I also have another video about and will link at the end of this video. You don't have to be perfect at this. No one is. But each time you do one of these practices or something similar, when you're pausing, reflecting, and actually speaking up for yourself, you are telling yourself, hey, I'm here and I am not leaving you again. While these patterns may have developed in the past, you have the power to heal them in the present. I would love to hear from you in the comments. What does self-abandonment look like for you? And what does choosing yourself look like now? And if you want to keep exploring this with me, I so appreciate your presence, first of all. I would love to have you along for the ride and appreciate any support, whether that's a like, subscribe, etc. And I can't wait to see you in the next video.